I live in some of the most beautiful and extreme terrain in the northwestern part of the lower 48. And I say this as a preface to today's topic because I hear the statements we're going to discuss made all the time, and it really makes me laugh. Let's get into it. Right now, I'm walking down a snowmobile trail in the area where I live, where I come out and take daily walks. It's 19 degrees. It's a beautiful day. This is, to me, like spring weather. Well, most people would literally freeze their ass off. This is what I thrive in. I look forward to winters where I live. And winter generally lasts many months. More months than summer. And more months than warm weather. But this is what I've always known. I grew up in the Midwest in the Great Lakes region. I dealt with snow, albeit heavy, wet snow. So out here it's much better because it's a drier, powdery snow. And that humid moisture in the winter can really chill you to the bone quickly. That doesn't happen here. And the reason I'm discussing this is because the other day I was in a chat group with some people who I consult with about being prepared, being self-reliant, because that's what I do. I've been teaching people to be self-reliant and how to sustain urban settings, wilderness settings. Since I was 14 years old, that's when I started. And you might wonder, well, how did you have knowledge at 14 years old? Well, I started when I was 8. My uncle started teaching me when I was 8. And I worked for the YMCA, and their wilderness instructor, guy didn't know crap. It was a joke. And when I called him out on his crap, the camp director pulled me aside and he's like, "How do you know? Why are you saying this?" And I told him how I knew. And so I became a leadership development counselor for the YMCA, and I started teaching at their summer camps wilderness skills, wilderness self-reliance. They called it wilderness survival, which I hate that word survival. I got to show you this view. Look at that view through there. All through there. Isn't that gorgeous? This is what I get to experience every day. I'll tell you. So, when I turned 18, I started teaching other people, which led me to work with the Department of Defense and the U.S. Navy attached to the Marine Corps, teaching winter survival skills. That's what they called them. Desert survival skills, because I had been to the desert, trained out there, the boreal forest. I've trained in every region that's available. And I spent time in 2000 over in Australia training with the Aborigines. So when I hear people say, "Well, when SHTF happens, I'm just going to run to the woods. I'm going to live in the woods." No, you're not. Especially people who live in urban or suburban areas. No, you're not. You aren't experienced enough. You aren't acclimated enough. You don't know what the hell you're doing. "Well, what are you talking about? I'm a hunter. I'm a fisherman. Oh, I go out in the woods all the time. Yeah, but then you go back to your cushy little suburban 1,500 square foot, 2,000 square foot, 3,000 square foot home, and you sit in the comforts of your lazy boy watching Netflix and sipping on a cold beverage. Not the same thing as living it. Spending a few days or a few weeks during hunting season out in the woods does not constitute you being a woodsman. It constitutes you being a weekend warrior, as they're called. But I was on a discussion group with a bunch of people, and there were some young men in this group, and they were just going on and on about, oh, I'll just go out there and, basically they think they're going to turn into Grizzly Adams, build a cabin, live off the land. And I asked them, I said, what's your extent of wilderness experience? Well, I've watched enough shows. I've seen enough movies. I saw Jeremiah Johnson. I've seen this. I've seen that. Oh, let me tell you, it's comical when I hear these people that really believe in their mind that they could just simply walk into the wilderness and be sustainable off-grid. You have to be knowledgeable and you have to be acclimatized. I see people that come to my area in the summertime, and if it dips below 60 degrees, they're running to the local store finding a nice warm puffy jacket to throw on because they're freezing. 60 degrees. Why? Well, I'm up at almost 7,000 foot elevation. The air's thinner. 60 degrees here is a whole lot different than 60 degrees at sea level or even 300 foot above. So, running to the mountains and running to the wilderness ain't as easy as you think it is. And it's not going to be what you think it is. Pure and simple. So I wanted to make this little video and show you this is what I live. I live in the mountains. I have lived in the mountains. I have spent time, summer and winter, living in an actual cave in the North Wind River Range of Wyoming. I've spent time living in the winter in Yellowstone National Park. Yes, I lived in Yellowstone National Park in the winter. I don't do it anymore. Could I do it? Yeah, but it would take me a little time to get back to that. I did that 23 years ago, 24 years ago. Why? Because that's what I wanted to do. I lived in Mother Nature. I was acclimatized. I felt like an outsider when I'd go back to town. It's not something that you're going to simply walk out in the woods and just do. You will die. All they're going to find is you're either mummified or scavenged bones when no one hears from you for a couple of days or weeks. And the weather, it can turn literally the snap of a finger. It can turn from a beautiful day like this. Look at that, gorgeous. To a raging, whiteout snowstorm in the literal blink of an eye. I've experienced it. I've seen it for years. That's what happens. So, if you think that being in the wilderness is something you're just going to go out and do, you better rethink. And you better start training now. Which now, with the way things are progressing, may be too late. But if you don't start getting acclimatized, It ain't going to happen. I can guarantee you that. And let me show you something else. This is all I wear. If I wear footwear, these are all I wear. Winter, summer, fall, spring. Yes, I can walk in the snow barefoot. My feet are acclimatized. And I have plenty of eyewitnesses that can attest to me walking in my local town barefoot in up to negative 34 degree weather without any adverse effects. So I am acclimatized to this. This is what I do. This is what I've done for many years. I've instructed people for many years. I've consulted people for many years. The fantasy of running to the woods is just that, a fantasy. It's not reality. Not unless you're 100% prepared. And I'm not carrying, I have no backpack. I have no extra gear. I have a pair of gloves in here, my pocket. I have nothing else. People say, well, you probably have socks. I don't have any socks. Nothing in here. Nothing in my coat. I've been doing this a long time. And for me to try to wear boots at this point, I've slipped on boots in the past. I was given a pair when my father-in-law passed away. He gave me a pair of his Keen boots. I've slipped them on for 2 minutes. They were so uncomfortable, number one, and number two, my feet were on fire within a couple minutes because this is what I'm acclimatized to. The mitochondria in my body produces more heat than the average person because I'm acclimatized to this. This is what I do. This is what I live. So get that idea out of your head about you're just going to run to the woods. It ain't going to happen. All right. If you found this information useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.